Every sale begins with a conversation, but it is completed in the mind. The psychology of closing a sale is not about slick words or high pressure tactics. It is about understanding what truly drives people to say yes. The best salespeople are not manipulators, but students of human nature. They know that closing is not a moment, it is the natural result of every step that came before, and it all hinges on psychology. Closing a sale requires more than product knowledge or persuasive arguments. It demands that you step into the shoes of your prospect, see the world through their eyes, and build a genuine connection. People don't buy because they understand your offer, they buy because they feel understood. The psychology of closing is the art of removing doubt, satisfying desire, and making your prospect feel confident, empowered, and respected. Let's start with belief. If you don't truly believe in what you offer, your prospect will sense it. Enthusiasm and conviction are contagious. Before you can close anyone else, you must first close yourself on the value you deliver. This inner certainty shapes your words, your tone, even your body language. Prospects respond instinctively to a salesperson who radiates genuine belief. This is the first secret of closing. Your conviction is more persuasive than any script. The next step is empathy. Listen deeply, not just to words, but to needs, fears, and hidden hopes. Great closers are masters at reading between the lines. They know that every question, every hesitation is an opportunity to show they care. When you ask the right questions and truly listen, you reveal your commitment to the prospect's best interest. This builds trust, and trust is the foundation upon which every sale rests. Understand the power of emotion in decision-making. Logic may open the door, but emotion walks your prospect through it. The psychology of closing is about connecting your offer to what your prospect truly wants: security, recognition, happiness, relief, or status. Don't just talk about features and benefits. Paint a picture of life after the purchase. Help your prospect imagine the problem solved, the goal achieved, the feeling of pride or comfort that comes with ownership. Objections are a natural part of the process, not barriers, but signposts. When a prospect raises a concern, welcome it. Thank them for their honesty, and see each objection as a request for more information or reassurance. The skilled closer addresses objections with calm confidence, never argument. They use stories, examples, and empathy to show that concerns are valid but surmountable. Timing matters. The close is not a trick or a trap, it is an invitation. When the prospect feels heard, when their questions are answered, and their emotions are aligned, the close becomes the next logical step. Sometimes, the most powerful way to close is simply to ask, with humility and confidence, "Are you ready to move forward?" or "How would you like to proceed?" The psychology of closing is knowing when to gently guide and when to simply let the decision unfold. Ultimately, closing a sale is an act of service. It's about helping someone make a decision they'll be happy with long after the transaction is over. It's about building relationships, not just making deals. The true closer walks away with more than a contract. They walk away with trust, respect, and the foundation for future business. So, as you embark on this study of the psychology of closing a sale, remember, your greatest tools are belief, empathy, and the courage to serve. When you master these, closing is no longer a battle. It becomes a natural, rewarding conclusion to a journey built on understanding. The heart of closing is not in the words you say, but in the questions you ask and the atmosphere you create. Every prospect brings with them a unique blend of hopes, anxieties, and unspoken doubts. The skilled salesperson understands that closing is not about pushing, it's about guiding. It's about patiently leading your prospect from curiosity to clarity, from uncertainty to confidence. Early in the process, the master closer sets the tone. They create an environment of openness, free from pressure or haste. Prospects can sense authenticity. When you are present, attentive, and genuinely interested in their situation, walls begin to fall. Trust is established not by grand promises, but by the small moments of honest conversation. Remember, every no you encounter on the way to a yes is a chance to learn more about your prospect's true motivation. The psychology of closing is rooted in discovery. It's about finding the core desire or pain point that drives every decision. Ask thoughtful questions. Listen not just for facts, but for feelings. When your prospect realizes you truly care about their needs, you become a trusted advisor, not just a seller. Emotion is the silent partner in every transaction. People make decisions based on feelings, then justify them with logic. The great closer understands this dance. They use stories, metaphors, and vivid descriptions to help the prospect see themselves already enjoying the benefits. When a prospect's heart is engaged, their mind will find reasons to support the decision. One of the most powerful tools in your arsenal is silence. After presenting your solution, resist the urge to fill every pause with words. Give your prospect space to process. Silence can be uncomfortable, but it is often in that space that decisions are made. The true closer is patient. They know that rushing can undo hours of careful relationship building. Anticipate objections, but do not fear them. In fact, welcome them as invitations to go deeper. Objections are signs that the prospect is thinking seriously. Address concerns with calm confidence. Use phrases like, "That's a great question," or "I'm glad you brought that up." Provide evidence, testimonials, guarantees, or personal experience to replace fear with reassurance. As you near the close, read your prospect's signals. Are they leaning in, nodding, or imagining themselves using the product? These are buying signs. Respect their pace, but don't hesitate to ask for the sale when the moment feels right. Use simple, confident language. "Would you like to move forward?" or "Shall we get started?" The psychology of closing is as much about timing as it is about words. Above all, close with integrity. The goal is not just to secure the sale, but to ensure your prospect feels great about their decision. The best closers create advocates, not just customers. They plant the seeds for repeat business, referrals, and long-term relationships. So, master the subtle arts, the open question, the patient pause, the sincere compliment. Approach every closing conversation with humility and purpose. Remember, the true power of closing lies in your ability to serve and not just to sell. The process of closing a sale is a dance, a blend of intuition, empathy, and timing. The best salespeople understand that closing is not a separate stage, but the natural culmination of every honest conversation and every careful step that came before. It is the gentle nudge that helps the prospect step over the threshold from indecision to action. To master the psychology of closing, you must first become a master observer. Watch for subtle shifts in body language, changes in tone, and the questions that signal curiosity or doubt. Listen for those telling phrases, "What happens next?" or "How soon can I start?" Each is a signal that the prospect is picturing themselves enjoying your offer. Recognize these cues, and you'll know when the moment to close is near. Closing is about aligning your prospect's emotions and logic. You must address both. Soothe their worries with stories of others who faced similar concerns and found success. Reinforce their excitement by painting a picture of what life will look like after their decision. When a prospect can see, feel, and believe in the transformation your product or service offers, the yes becomes almost inevitable. One of the most overlooked elements of closing is the sense of ownership. People are far more likely to buy when they feel the decision is theirs, not something forced upon them. Great closers create this feeling by offering choices, not ultimatums. Would you prefer option A or option B? When would be the best time to get started? These questions invite the prospect to take the lead and feel empowered. Be mindful, too, of the power of small commitments. The path to a big decision is paved with little agreements. Get your prospect used to saying yes, to details, to preferences, to timing. Each positive answer is a step toward the final close, and each builds the prospect's confidence in their own judgment. Fear is the greatest enemy of closing. Fear of making the wrong choice, of regret, of judgment from others. The psychology of closing is about replacing fear with certainty. Offer guarantees, demonstrate social proof, and above all, stand behind your promise. When the prospect knows you are there for them after the sale, their confidence rises. Persistence, when applied with respect, is another key. Sometimes a prospect needs time, or more information, or simply another conversation. The master closer follows up without pressure, always keeping the relationship at the center. If you serve with patience and integrity, Many not now answers eventually become yes. And remember, the close is not the end, but the beginning of a new relationship. How you handle the final moments of the sale sets the tone for everything that follows. Express gratitude. Reassure the prospect that they've made a wise decision. Be there to support and celebrate as they step into their new reality. So, close with grace. Let your words reflect belief in your offer, respect for your prospect, and pride in your role as a guide. The true art of closing is not about convincing someone to buy, it's about helping them decide, with clarity and confidence, that this step is right for them. The most successful closers in the world all share one trait: an unwavering commitment to understanding the person in front of them. The true art of closing is never about getting your way, but about creating a win-win solution where your prospect's needs, hopes, and goals are met as fully as your own. The greatest salespeople are those who leave the other party feeling grateful, not pressured. Let's explore the mindset that makes this possible. When you approach every conversation with genuine curiosity, you unlock a wellspring of insight. Each prospect is a universe unto themselves, shaped by unique experiences, worries, and dreams. When you ask open-ended questions, when you truly listen and remember what matters to them, you do more than gather information, you build trust. This trust is the currency of closing. Without it, every tactic falls flat. Closing also requires confidency, not arrogance, but calm assurance. The closer who is truly confident does not need to rush or dominate. They let their knowledge and conviction speak through gentle guidance, reassuring the prospect at every step. When you believe deeply in your offer and in the service you provide, your confidence will quietly invite the prospect to believe as well. Let's not overlook the value of transparency. The most persuasive closers are honest about limitations and upfront about costs. They address possible shortcomings before the prospect has a chance to worry about them. This openness disarms skepticism and paves the way for genuine connection. When you handle objections with respect and candor, you show that your priority is the prospect's well-being, not just your commission. It's also vital to understand the tempo of the sale. Every prospect has their own rhythm of pace at which they become comfortable with the idea of moving forward. Some need time and information. Others are ready when you first meet. The skilled closer senses this tempo and matches it, never rushing but always ready. They are patient in waiting for readiness, but prepared to act when the moment arrives. Throughout the process, remember that emotions are the true levers of decision. Prospects may rationalize their choices, but they act on feeling. Paint the future in vivid detail. Help them imagine the relief, pride, or security that your offer brings. If you can help your prospect truly feel what their life will be like after the purchase, you create momentum that logic alone can never generate. Never underestimate the power of follow-through. The moment after the yes is as important as every moment before. Confirm their decision, express your appreciation. Clearly outline the next steps and provide reassurance that they have made a wise choice. This cements trust and opens the door to referrals, repeat business, and lifelong relationships. Finally, make it your mission to serve, not just to sell. Every closing conversation is a test of your character. Will you do what's right for your prospect, even if it means waiting for a better fit or a better time? The world's best closers understand that every relationship, every reputation is built on the foundation of integrity. As you refine your closing skills, keep returning to this truth. Your goal is not to win the sale, but to help another person win, making the best decision for their life, their business, and their future. When you approach closing with this spirit, you won't just succeed in sales, you'll succeed in life. The essence of closing is found in your ability to create certainty both in yourself and in your prospect. Certainty is what transforms hesitation into commitment and converts curiosity into decisive action. The most successful closers understand that certainty is built brick by brick throughout every interaction, not just in the final moments before the signature. Certainty begins with clarity. From the very first conversation, be clear about what you offer, how it helps, and what the next steps look like. Avoid ambiguity. Confusion breeds doubt. Use simple language, specific examples, and direct answers. When your prospect feels informed and equipped, their confidence rises. Next comes alignment. Align your message not just with your prospect's stated needs, but with their underlying motivations, the fears they rarely voice, the hopes they dare to hold. Show them that you understand both the practical and emotional sides of their decision. When you demonstrate this understanding, you eliminate the silent objections that derail so many sales. One of the great secrets of closing is anticipation. The seasoned closer does not wait for objections to appear, he or she addresses them proactively. You might be wondering about, or some clients in your situation have asked. These phrases show the prospect that you are thinking ahead, that you care about their concerns before they even arise. This anticipatory service creates comfort and deepens trust. Let's talk about the energy you bring. Enthusiasm is magnetic. When you are excited about your solution, not in a forced or theatrical way, but with genuine passion, it inspires belief. Prospects sense this energy and are drawn to it. This enthusiasm, paired with expertise, creates an environment where the close feels natural, even inevitable. Remember that small details matter. A follow-up call at the promised time, a handwritten note, a thoughtful suggestion based on their unique situation. These gestures communicate reliability and respect. They show that you are not just chasing a commission, but are invested in a relationship. People buy from those they trust, and trust is built in 100 small moments. Persistence, too, has its place. Sometimes the first no is simply a request for more information or an invitation to address a hidden concern. Do not disappear at the first sign of resistance. Instead, continue to serve, to educate, and to check in. Let your persistence be a demonstration of your commitment, never of pressure. At the core of every close is service. Ask yourself, will this prospect be better off because they worked with me? If the answer is yes, you have a moral obligation to help them make the right decision. Close with confidence, knowing you are delivering real value. Finally, understand that every close is a beginning, not an end. Stay connected. Be proactive in your support after the sale. Seek feedback, celebrate their results, and continue to look for ways to help. The client who feels valued becomes your greatest advocate, opening doors to referrals and new opportunities that no marketing campaign can buy. So, in every conversation, every presentation, every close make, it your mission to bring certainty, enthusiasm, and unwavering service. When you do, you will not only close more sales, but open more doors to lasting success. As you deepen your mastery of closing, you'll begin to see that each sale is a unique journey, shaped as much by psychology as by logic. The prospect sitting across from you is not a number or a transaction, but a person full of their own history, experiences, fears, and ambitions. When you recognize this, you move from selling to serving, and the act of closing transforms into an act of leadership. Leadership in sales means guiding your prospect through the uncertainty that naturally accompanies any important decision. It means being a steady hand, offering reassurance, and clarifying the path forward. The true closer understands that resistance is not opposition. It is often just anxiety about the unknown. Your role is to make the unknown known, to provide clarity where there is doubt, and to turn apprehension into action. The foundation for this is trust. Trust is not granted automatically. It is earned through consistent, honest, and thoughtful engagement. Every word you speak, every promise you keep, every question you answer honestly builds a bridge of trust that your prospect can walk across. Trust allows the prospect to lower their guard, to ask real questions, and to consider your offer with an open mind. Pay attention to your prospect's decision-making style. Some people need to analyze every detail, while others are guided by intuition or emotion. The skilled closer adapts their approach, providing facts and figures for the analytical mind, while also painting a vivid emotional picture for those who are moved by feeling. There is no one-size-fits-all script only, the ability to meet each prospect where they are. Let's not underestimate the importance of timing. Closing is as much about when you ask as how you ask. Sometimes the prospect is ready before you think. Other times they need more reassurance or information. Be attentive to their signals. When you sense readiness, invite the decision confidently, but never rush. When you sense hesitation, return to service, offer more clarity, more support, and more listening. Use stories as a tool. People remember stories far longer than they remember facts. Share real examples of others who faced similar decisions, hesitated, and then found success and satisfaction after working with you. These stories do more than inform, they inspire and reassure. Throughout the closing process, be willing to address difficult topics directly. If there is a potential downside or a realistic limitation, bring it up before the prospect does. This honesty diffuses suspicion and shows maturity. It positions you not just as a seller, but as a trusted advisor. Finally, keep the relationship at the center. The sale is not the ultimate goal, it is a milestone on a much longer journey. If you treat every close as the beginning of a partnership, you'll find that your reputation grows, your referrals multiply, and your sense of fulfillment deepens. Every happy client becomes a link in a chain of trust that can last a lifetime. So, as you continue to master the psychology of closing, lead with empathy, build with trust, adapt with skill, and finish with integrity. In doing so, you'll not only become a master closer, you'll become a leader who changes lives, one decision at a time. Every seasoned salesperson knows that the moment of closing is not a test of the prospect's intelligence or your persuasiveness, it is a test of trust and belief. The decision to say yes rests as much on emotion as on reason. Your job, as a master closer, is to balance both, making the path to the sale feel not only logical, but safe and desirable. Start by reaffirming the prospect's needs and desires. Restate what you've learned. You mentioned you're looking for reliability and peace of mind. That's exactly what this solution provides. This simple act of validation tells the prospect they've been heard and understood. When people feel seen, they relax, and that relaxation is fertile ground for agreement. Never underestimate the impact of your own belief. When you stand firmly behind your product or service, when you express without arrogance but with quiet conviction that this is the right choice, your confidence fills the space. People often make decisions based on the certainty of those around them. If you have done your homework, served honestly, and truly believe, do not be afraid to let that conviction show. As the conversation approaches its turning point, lean on the power of positive expectation. Assume the sale not by pressure, but by painting a clear, specific future where the prospect is already enjoying the benefits. When you start using this, you'll notice, or once we're set up, you'll be able to. This language gently nudges the prospect to mentally step into ownership, making the final yes feel natural. There will be moments of hesitation. Do not rush to fill every silence or counter every small doubt. Instead, be comfortable with the pause. Give your prospect space to process and let them ask questions. Sometimes, what they need most is not more information, but a moment to catch up emotionally. The closer who can wait with patience stands apart in a world obsessed with speed. Consider also the role of social proof. People want to know that others like them have succeeded with your offer. Share stories, testimonials, or relevant examples. A client in a similar situation told me, or many of our customers were hesitant at first, but here's what they experienced. Social proof is reassurance from the world outside the sales conversation. Sometimes you must help your prospect overcome their own self-doubt. Remind them gently of past decisions they've made successfully or of challenges they've already conquered. Frame the close not as a leap into the unknown, but as a logical next step in their journey. Help them see themselves as someone who deserves the benefits you're offering. Lastly, finish every closing conversation with gratitude. Whether the answer is yes or not yet, thank your prospect for their time, honesty, and consideration. Let them know that your support continues, regardless of the immediate outcome. In doing so, you leave the door open for future opportunities and demonstrate the character that defines true sales leadership. So, as you close each sale, remember, it's not about convincing, but about creating the environment for a confident, positive decision. Serve first, believe deeply, and let every interaction leave the other person better for having met you. As you become skilled in the art of closing, you'll notice something subtle but profound. You are no longer selling to prospects, you are selling with them. The process turns from persuasion into partnership. When your client feels that you are on their side, working together to find the best solution, resistance fades and trust flourishes. Let's talk about the importance of shared vision. Before every close, take a moment to realign your prospect with the goal they expressed at the beginning. Let's go back to what matters most to your reliability, value, peace of mind. When you bring the conversation full circle, you remind the prospect that their decision is about achieving their own aims, not just meeting your quota. This is where your guidance becomes invaluable. The path to decision is rarely straight. There are doubts, external pressures, and the noise of competing offers. As a skilled closer, you become the steady hand through this uncertainty. Instead of adding pressure, you provide clarity and direction, always keeping the prospect's needs at the forefront. One of the most effective psychological tools is the concept of incremental commitment. People are more comfortable making big decisions when they've already made smaller ones along the way. Throughout your conversation, look for opportunities to gain agreement on details, delivery dates, preferred features, even the simplest preferences. Each yes paves the way for the final decision, creating a sense of progress and mutual investment. Transparency is your greatest ally. Address potential challenges before they become obstacles. Some of our clients have had questions about this aspect. Let's talk about it now. When you surface concerns proactively, you turn negatives into positives and further reinforce your role as a trusted advisor. The energy you bring to the close is contagious. A calm, confident presence can dispel anxiety. An enthusiastic, authentic excitement can spark motivation. Prospects mirror your mood, so be intentional about projecting the feelings you want them to associate with your offer. Optimism, security, and assurance. Always acknowledge the prospect's courage in making a decision. For many people, buying means stepping into the unknown. Validate their bravery. I appreciate that this is an important decision. I want you to feel great about it. This recognition not only reassures, but it creates an environment where your client feels empowered and respected. Closing is also about timing. There are moments when the right thing is to step back and let the prospect think. Pushing too hard can breed regret or resentment. Instead, be available, remain supportive, and show patience. The client who feels they were given the time and space to choose is far more likely to return and to refer you to others. As you finish each sale, plant seeds for the future. Offer to answer questions after the agreement is made. Follow up with care, not just as a salesperson, but as a partner in their ongoing success. When your relationships last longer than the transaction, you know you've mastered the psychology of closing. So keep serving, keep listening, and keep believing that every close is an opportunity not just to win a sale, but to change a life. When you approach each closing with this mindset, success will follow not only in business, but in every meaningful relationship you build. In the final moments before a sale is closed, everything you have, Buell Traport, trust, understanding, reaches its peak. It's here that your mastery of psychology is tested. The prospect is poised on the edge of decision, balancing the promise of a solution against the risk of making a mistake. Your role now is to provide the last nudge, not with pressure, but with assurance. Let's address the most persistent force at play in any closing conversation: fear. Even the most logical and well-informed prospects feel a twinge of anxiety before committing. Is this the right choice? What if it doesn't work out? Will I regret this tomorrow? A master closer welcomes these fears, not as obstacles, but as opportunities to demonstrate care. Use empathy to bring unspoken concerns into the open. Ask, what questions do you still have? Or, is there anything holding you back? Invite honesty and respond with patience. Sometimes, a prospect needs to be heard more than they need to be convinced. When you create space for real conversation, you turn hesitation into partnership. This is the time to offer reassurance. Summarize the journey. You've done your homework. You've asked the right questions. Everything points to this being a good fit. Remind them of their own reasoning and the progress you've made together. Reinforce the benefits they'll receive and the vision they shared at the start. Make the yes feel like the natural conclusion to a thoughtful, collaborative process. One powerful tool is the risk reversal. Offer a satisfaction guarantee, a trial period, or a generous return policy if appropriate. By taking on some of the risk yourself, you show confidence in your offer and reduce the pressure on your prospect. People buy when they feel safe, when they know that you stand behind your promise. Social proof can seal the deal. Share brief stories of clients who made the same decision and found success. Many of our customers felt the same way at first, but here's what happened next. These stories aren't just evidence, they're emotional anchors, helping your prospect see themselves in the story of success. Don't forget the importance of clarity. Make the next steps simple and easy. All we need to do is, or the paperwork takes just a few minutes. When the path is straightforward, resistance fades. The master closer anticipates every uncertainty, making sure that no small detail becomes a stumbling block. End every closing conversation with gratitude and celebration. Thank your new client for their trust. Share in their excitement. Reassure them that your support doesn't end with the sale, that you'll be there to guide them every step of the way. This creates loyalty and opens the door to future business and referrals. In the end, the psychology of closing is about helping another human being step forward with confidence. It's about dissolving fear, honoring hope, and proving through every word and action that their decision to say yes was the right one. So, as you stand at the threshold of each sale, remember, you are not closing a deal, but opening a relationship home built on trust, respect, and the promise of lasting value. As we bring this exploration to a close, let me leave you with a truth that will serve you in every deal, every meeting, and every relationship. Closing a sale is not an act of conquest, but an act of service. The greatest closers do not force, manipulate, or outwit their prospects. They listen, they understand, and they help people make decisions that will improve their lives long after the ink is dry. The psychology of closing is about human connection. It's about meeting people where they are, walking with them through their doubts, and guiding them gently toward a solution that brings real value. When you shift your focus from the sale itself to the person in front of you, everything changes. Resistance drops, doors open, and your own sense of fulfillment multiplies. Remember, every sale is a relationship. The seeds you plant today by serving with integrity and building trust will bear fruit in ways you cannot imagine. Some clients may buy immediately, others may return months or years later, carrying with them memories of how you made them feel. Your reputation becomes your greatest asset, and your name is spoken with respect in rooms where you are not present. Closing is not the end of the story, it is the beginning of loyalty, advocacy, and opportunity. Follow up with care, deliver on your promises, and look for ways to add value long after the transaction is complete. The happiest clients are those who feel seen and supported at every stage, and they will become the ambassadors of your brand. Do not fear objections, delays, or even the occasional no. Every conversation is a step on the path to mastery. The lessons you learn, the patience you build, and the character you reveal all shape your growth as a closer and as a human being. Approach each sale with gratitude. Be thankful for the chance to serve, to learn, and to connect. Celebrate every yes as a victory for both sides, and greet every challenge as an invitation to become better at your craft. In the end, the psychology of closing a sale is the psychology of leadership, influence, and contribution. It is the art of building bridges where others see walls, of creating possibility where others see risk, and of delivering confidence when others feel doubt. Go forward and make every close a testament to your values, your commitment, and your care. The world does not need more pressure or persuasion. It needs more leaders who guide with wisdom, heart, and vision. Be that leader. Make each sale the start of a lasting legacy, not just for your business, but for the lives you touch.